Good to see you here, and I hope you guys are doing well. This is the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and here's some of my thoughts about the camera after using it for about a week now. We're gonna skip most of the technicality and numbers on this phone and focus more on how it feels like to take photos and videos on a normal daily basis. I haven't been carrying my Fujifilm X100T just to see if this could be the only camera I bring around with me all the time. As we all know, the camera on the iPhone is incredibly easy to take photos with. There's nothing you really have to adjust in order to give you great results. And that is also why phone photography is so popular nowadays. The fact that you can just pull out your phone and take a photo right away of that exact moment is something that a lot of cameras can't achieve. I think that's the most exciting and amazing thing about this camera or phone. That's why I want to focus more on the normal daily usage of this camera. So first of all, let's talk about the grip. The iPhone 5 inspired design is back. It just looks way better and much easier to hold in my opinion compared to the rounded edge. However, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's actually quite big, which makes one-handed operation while taking a photo a little bit harder than my old iPhone 10. After a little practice and getting used to the size, taking photos and video with one hand is still doable. As I was going through some of the photos I've taken throughout the week, I've noticed a few things. The edge of the ultra-wide photo is sharper than I expected. Consider that it's not the main focus out of the three cameras. The HDR is pretty darn good. The way iPhone compute all the data in one photo with a single press of the shutter, which is something I could never achieve with the Fujifilm X100T. So if we take a look at the lens now, which has an 1.6 aperture lens. It's a faster lens, and with bigger sensor, that'll equal to better low light performance, as well as the shallow depth of field, which gives us that blurriness of the background. But since the iPhone 12 Pro Max comes with the LiDAR sensor, which can measure exactly how far the subject is away from the camera, and it works both for photos and videos. It enhances the accuracy of autofocus because it doesn't need to rely on light to get better autofocus anymore. Speaking of low light situations, the ultra wide angle is not as good in low light compared to the wide angle lens. But when there's enough light, it still looks pretty amazing. The 2.5 times telephoto is like right between the ultra wide and wide angle lens. It doesn't have that much grain compared to the ultra wide angle during low light situations. So if you're running low on light, just switch to the wide angle lens. It'll give you the best performance out of all three cameras in low light situations. Another big new thing is the stabilization. The iPhone 12 Pro Max now has sensor shift technology, which in terms it's a better stabilization for video because instead of stabilization happening inside the lens, it's actually shifting around it. So basically it's kind of like IBIS but on our phone. However, it only works with the wide angle, not telephoto, not ultra wide, just the wide angle lens. But seriously though, this is a phone that we're talking about here. We check our emails, our text, we scroll through Instagram with it, and now it has IBIS. So far, I'm pretty impressed by the stabilization of this phone. It doesn't feel 100% natural to me, but it does work. And here's what I mean. I was able to zoom all the way in 7 times and get pretty stable shot. So if 2.5 zoom is 65mm, 7 times it's about 185mm. Now the video is very stable, like crazy stabilized. Consider I was shooting handheld. Whenever I move a little bit and make small adjustment, the video will pan like very quickly as well. It's kind of like the actual telephoto lens that you're using with the big DSLR, but way stabilized. What I'm trying to say is that the stabilization is very sensitive, but not in a natural way if you look carefully. However, it does work, like it does the job very well. So if you use it correctly, you will be able to get really good stabilized footage at 7 times zoom. That's equivalent to 185mm. But if you want good crispy footage, then I wouldn't use the 7 times zoom at all. Digital zoom is something that we want to avoid at all times if you want good looking footage. As for portrait mode, it's still portrait mode. Is it better? Yes, of course, it's a lot better. However, you still get those kind of fake edge bokeh if you look very carefully. It'll show up once in a while. That being said, the technology in this phone is still very impressive in order for a phone to pull that off. There are many apps out there where you can change the focus of your image, which I think Apple should just include that in the Photos app. This way we can just snap photos or even just shoot videos without worrying about the focus at first, and then change the focus in post. I feel like this could be easily achieved with the new LiDAR sensor on this phone right now, because there's so much more that a LiDAR sensor can do, and this is only like a little tip of the iceberg. However, at the end, the technicality is not really what matters here. It's simply because the ease of use of this phone and the fact that this phone is always gonna be with you. And that is also why I wanna see if I can replace my Fujifilm X100T with this camera. So my final verdict as of now is that this phone won't be replacing my Fujifilm X100T anytime soon. Not because it's a bad phone or an inferior camera, it's because of my mindset. Whenever I bring my Fujifilm X100T, I tend to focus more on taking photos. It's kind of like those photography mode switch in my head. It's always on and turning when I have the Fujifilm with me, but it's not the same with the phone. Whenever I bring my phone around, it's just a phone, it's not a camera. I don't see it as a camera, and then therefore I don't use it as a camera to take photos. Of course, this might change with practice, and since this is gonna be the device slash camera, I guess, on me all the time, so I'm gonna see and observe how I change my mindset into this kind of photography mode whenever I pick my phone up for a photo or even a video. But as of now, if I can't have my photography mode turned on all the time, I'd rather just have my Fujifilm X100T all the time with me instead of having this phone around and not taking photos, because I won't be making photos at all. I would love to hear, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this phone, this camera on the phone, could possibly take over the camera that you bring every day with you to take photos with, or even videos? Alright, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me, talking about phones and cameras. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe ring the bell on your way out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.